The ending for Stranger Things, the series finale, has really solidified my opinion that TV shows are no longer allowed to have a proper ending. That the ending of a TV show is now just an opening for 10 other spin-offs, so that way the series can always continue and continue to make more money. I mean, the Stranger Things finale was so bad that fans were gaslighting themselves into believing that there was a secret episode that hasn't released, and they were using all these quote-unquote clues, and it led to nothing. I think what really hurt is that this show took almost 10 years to get to this point, to finally get to the series ending. So you're expecting a huge payoff, you're expecting everything to be wrapped up, and instead you're left on a pretty big cliffhanger, and now you have to wait for another spin-off. On top of that, you're just met with mediocre action. I mean, there's a 2-hour finale that they aired in theaters. They were confident in this. They aired a 2-hour finale. The first 45 minutes have action, the rest hour and 15 is just all goodbyes, and then, of course, at the very end, setting up Eleven will return. That her death was a fake out, just like Hopper earlier in the season. They do 2 fake outs and we have no actual deaths this season. The series finale and nobody dies. The show no longer has any stakes. They have to save all the characters for all the spin-offs they want to do. Because I can promise you, yeah, they said that Eleven's gonna have her own spin-off. I promise that it's gonna be more than just 11, especially if that one's successful. I'm sure Hopper will have something. Maybe we'll get a backstory of Hopper. I'm sure there will be one with the kids, and then maybe 10 years later there'll be a whole new reunion show. And we saw this exact same problem with The Walking Dead, where the main show ends, nothing really significant happens. You get one kind of big death, and then everyone else just goes their own way, like, hey, I'm heading off to France. Be sure to watch my spin-off. Hey, Maggie and Negan are heading off to New York. Make sure you watch their spin-off. Remember Rick and Michonne? Well, they're also back, but you have to watch their spin-off too. So now you have to watch 3 different shows in order to keep up with the main cast of The Walking Dead. And it's not like these shows are anything spectacular. The Rick and Michonne one was probably the best one, probably because they had the most money into it and was supposed to be like an actual movie trilogy. Daryl is mediocre, and Negan and Maggie in New York is just not that good. And then there's whispers that there might be another show reunion. And I mean, and it's kind of obvious when you see the ending of some of these shows, but it's like, come on, we just did all that just to circle back to right where we were when the show ended. But hey, at least we got our 5 spin-offs out of the way. Shows like Fear the Walking Dead, I don't have a problem with, because that's different from the main cast. You're just telling a story inside the same universe, which I'm 100% fine with. It's a problem when you take the main cast, break them up just to have them all in their own shows by themselves. This is why with Squid Games, I don't really have a problem with them doing a bunch of spin-offs. I'm actually kind of glad for it, because the show was more about the idea of the Squid Game and that it could take place anywhere, so therefore spin-offs do make sense. Peacemaker also had its series finale a few months ago with Peacemaker Season 2, and that's another problem that we run into, is that it just sets itself up for the future without having a satisfying ending. We're actually left with a pretty big cliffhanger about the main character, and it's not going to get solved in his own show because the show's over, so now we have to watch 5 other forms of DC content until they eventually revisit this plotline and we see what happens. That should never ever be the case. There's still loose threads that happened in the season that we are probably not going to see ever. Like, Keith is still alive. He still holds a vengeance against Peacemaker, but I highly doubt we're ever going to see them match up again. Even shows like the Marvel Disney Plus ones, like Hawkeye, like She-Hulk, they never really have a satisfying ending because it's always like, well, these characters are going to be back eventually, so. Even the original Daredevil run on Netflix had this problem going season 2 to season 3. If you just watch Daredevil without watching The Defenders, you're going to be pretty lost, because a huge part of what happens in Daredevil season 3 is because of The Defenders. So then you have to watch that spinoff in order to understand what happens in Daredevil season 3 and why he's where he is. Don't get me wrong, I love Daredevil and it's one of my favorite TV shows of all time, but this is one of the biggest flaws that it has, in my opinion, where they shoehorn this plot. They did this with Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, and Luke Cage, where they shoehorn the hand into the season, and it's the weakest season. I mean, at least for Daredevil season 2 is the weakest of the season because it had to incorporate the hand just so it could lead into a spinoff. Imagine if Daredevil was allowed to operate without needing to worry about leading into Defenders. This would have been undoubtedly one of the best TV shows, if not the best TV shows of all time. I absolutely love Daredevil, but season 2 drags it so much solely because it has to lead into a spinoff that isn't even that good. That's just my opinion. I just feel like TV shows aren't allowed to have a proper ending anymore in order to make room for spin-offs. And it sucks because shows like Stranger Things, I mean, we wait 10 years. That deserves a proper finale. That deserves a proper ending. Any show that gets the honor of actually making it through all of its seasons like it's supposed to and not getting cut short deserve a good ending, deserve a proper ending and proper closure. I'm actually pretty concerned about the Boys series finale this year because I feel like it's not going to be a proper ending. It's going to be left open-ended and we're going to have to watch another spin-off or two. Hopefully my paranoia is wrong. Hopefully the series actually has a satisfying conclusion. But let me know what you guys think. Do you think TV shows have fine enough endings? Do you think the endings are worse now because streaming is so big? Let me know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure to like and subscribe. And I will see you guys in the next one.